and welcome back to another GM Tips. I was going to say from Anti-Faden, but let's not do that. That's terrible. GM Tips. Today's topic is a little bit of a nuanced one. And by that, I want to say that I feel that everyone knows what I'm about to say, but not many actually really understand what to do about it. The subject is, this is a social game. This is a social interaction. What do I mean by that? I've read online a couple of times this week about people GMs asking questions. They're stumped. They're stumped because their players are doing something in the game they don't like. And I'm not talking about their characters, although it is their characters, but I'm talking about how it is affecting the game itself. And the GM doesn't want a GM anymore because of the way the players are interacting with his or her material. And that they don't know what to do about it. And that's one example of many where the GM is basically saying, this player is doing something I don't like. These players are doing something I don't like. What do I do? And they want an answer that is part of the rules. And I think that's where we get stumped. This social interaction must conform with some kind of chapter or paragraph or line somewhere in the book. Can someone point me to the page, please? And that's not what this is about. I want to take the rules out of this conversation for a moment. And I want you to remember that as a GM and player, you are sitting at the table with friends and associates, fellow human beings. Maybe most of them are human, maybe some aren't. If you were sitting at a pub having a drink, then there would be no illusions as to this being a social interaction, right? Suddenly, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons or Shadowrun or Call of Cthulhu, your favorite tabletop game, and it's not a social interaction anymore. Or the rules have changed. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. The rules are exactly the same. And what I mean by that is, if you have a player, not a character, a player doing something at the table that you don't like, it's okay to say, James, could you just stop doing that for a moment? And if it's bigger than a bread box, if it's bigger than that, then it's okay in between sessions to go, guys, you keep derailing the game from my perspective. I'm kind of planning out XYZ, but you keep attacking the wagons instead of protecting them. It's not the game I wanted to do. You keep attacking each other. Can you tell me what type of game you want? And can we see if there's actually, this is something I want to run, because we might need a different GM. I might not approach the conversation exactly that way, but the point is, it's okay to realize that if the social environment is not working, to actually implore to your fellow humans and demi-humans that you would like to talk about it and have a meeting of minds. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to get receptive humans wanting to engage. I guarantee it. A while ago, myself, I came out of a session that I was running feeling quite irked that my players had been extremely rambunctious the whole time. One player was trying to talk to me, the others were being extremely loud. We were just super excited to be playing in person, you know. And they were being very, very loud and rambunctious. They were like completely squashing what she was trying to say to me. There was constant jokes being thrown around the other side of the table. I mean, people were having a good time. But it wasn't conducive to a great game. And I came away from this feeling actually kind of upset, feeling angry, if anything. And that's on me, the fact that I let it get to anger. But in between games, I was able to write to them and say, guys, I just want to kind of point out what I saw happening in the last session, and this is how it affected the game. I would like to see XYZ happen instead. Now, we might have to have a separate conversation about how to communicate, because that's a whole different subject, right? But the point being that I didn't approach it as you're breaking my game. I didn't approach it as you're breaking the rules, nor did I look for a solution within the rules. I looked for the solution within my friends as a friend group. And immediately they were all, oh yeah, you're right. Now, it didn't completely snuff out the out of character kind of conversations going on at the table, but at the same time, they were a little bit more respectful. Like, they could see that they overstepped the line. And you can do that. You can do that with any subject. Tom, I don't know if you realize this or not, but your enthusiasm in the game, which I really implore, you're kind of like dominating a little bit. And I don't know if you noticed, but Trudy isn't really getting to do much. I want to bring Judy into the game a little bit. Can you help me with that? Phil, your character builds are outstanding. They really are. This latest one is beginning to break my game a little bit, and I'm hoping that we can have a meeting of the mind about what to do about it, because I don't really want to change my game setting and its low power level. Can we talk about your character and his abilities? The list goes on and on and on. The point being is, as a GM, it's okay for you to look for answers within the social interactions of your group versus the actual rules themselves. By the way, this applies to players too. I mean, it applies to the whole group. This is a social contract we have with each other here. If you are that player that wants to be talking for 7 hours straight over everyone else, look at yourself, because that wouldn't be acceptable at a pub. It wouldn't be acceptable at a game table. Don't even think it would be acceptable at a Monopoly, but we'll come back to that another time. If you are the player that loves just going off script all of the time and purposely trying to test your GM by breaking what he or she has written, is that within the rules of the social contract that you have? The list goes on and on and on. And so as a baseline, and we will look at this deeper later on, just as a baseline, I just want to point out to everyone that this is ultimately a collection of friends, a collection of associates. We get together to all have a good time. That good time, honestly, can be stonking through a dungeon, grabbing all of the treasure. It can be seeing if you can get around the GM trying to kill you. Whatever the type of game you're playing, it's not important. What's important is that you're all on the same page with it. And that includes the GM. If the players are having one game and the GM's trying to run another, it's not working. If two players are having one game and two other players are having a completely different game and the GM's having a third, something's not working. So in those moments, I would ask you, 99 times out of 100, that the answer is honestly, just talk about it. Just talk about it together. You can do it during the game. You can do a quick timeout. I have a phrase called out of character for a moment, on a timeout. And like what I'm about to say is nothing to do with the actual game itself. I'm about to talk about the running of the game, the group dynamics. Or do it in between sessions. If it's one person in particular, talk to them to one side. If it's a little bit more than one person, talk to the entire group. You get the idea. The motto, if the Aesop's fable, no, I can't go do an Aesop's fable of this, because basically this is going to be just a short little phrase. The fade and fable, that's a thing. Talk about it. Talk to your fellow human beings and demi-humans, because you will probably find them way more receptive than you think. The answer is not always in the book. and the group that you're playing with.